to be or not to be racist? That is the question that our dear Matt Walsh has asked of us. And now, when you look upon my friend Charles Carlisle, what do you see? A magnificent, beautiful, white stallion who doesn't really understand that he is at the top of the pecking order. Now, when you see this black specimen, what do you see? Roll that intro. Hey guys, welcome to an episode of the Couch Gambit podcast. I know it's been a hot minute. It's been like a month since we've like uploaded anything.
Mm-hmm. A great month.
Yeah, it was just like a short little hiatus. We wanted to let Jacob, our slave, kind of recover a bit.
I hate that you chose that word.
Welcome back from the edit again. All right. So, as you can see from the title,
I'm gonna kill someone.
Am I a racist? But yeah, Liam, are you racist?
Yes, I was notified that I was wearing blackface in one of our previous videos, so I guess I do have to accept that title that was given to me. So I guess yes, I am racist. Wasn't trying to be, but
Well,
That was the first comment, by the way. Why is he wearing blackface?
That's where we are, I guess.
So Liam's definitely racist. Fuck you, Jacob. Getting in the way of my shot. Mikey, are you racist?
I have so many black friends, all right? I'm half black myself from the waist down. And so I feel like I'm exempt from this, right? I feel like I have checked my privilege and, you guys might have some learning to do, some decolonization
Right.
to internally process.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally, I think I've kind of figured it out. Yeah, I'm a friend of the people.
So
I'm an ally.
So I have seen his cock. It is rather like massive. It's a good one.
Oh, no, the upper half.
What? I thought you said you were black from the waist down.
Did I? Oh,
You did.
Oh, no.
You fucking idiot.
Shit. I just saw I said half black. Okay, yeah. Fair
Maybe you did. Maybe I
Fair
misheard.
enough.
All right, well.
I don't have a camera
I'm-
right now, so
I'm
you
an
guys
idiot.
keep talking.
We're all idiots here. Is the camera working now?
Oh, the camera's working now. I just feel like this isn't going to be a podcast anymore. It's just going to be a series of unfortunate
It's
conversations.
just gonna be racist
conversations.
racist comments.
Am I
Well, yeah.
racist?
Yeah, this is an uncomfortable topic, Jacob, but you really have to be able to embrace it if you're going to relearn.
This will also
Teach
be
me,
partially Charles learning about things that happen in the film because he
Yeah.
didn't see the film.
We're just gonna outright say it, huh? Well, let's
busy.
actually get on topic and talk about the film. Did we like it? Did we not? How was Matt Walsh in it? Considering how awful he was in Lady Ballers. Honestly, you know what? It was good. I enjoyed the documentary. I think I personally like What Is a Woman a bit more from just like what I got out of the film.
Yeah.
But I think from a comedy aspect, just like entertainment, yeah, I think I Am a Racist is probably a bit better.
No, I will say out of the two films, it's hard for me. I get fundamentally more entertainment value out of this film because especially after seeing the entire Daily Wire catalog.
Oh God.
This was a good way to kind of rinse my palate and kind of cleanse it. I will say I got far more entertainment value out of this film, but I think What Is a Woman definitely hits its point way harder than this film does. I didn't really get much of a point out of this film. I got more just entertainment. And it was good entertainment, don't get me wrong, and it still had a point to make. However, I think overall, if we're trying to judge it on its content as a documentary, What Is a Woman? I had to give it the A+ rating.
Okay. Yeah. So Jacob, what are your thoughts? Kind of comparing the two documentaries.
This is far more of a troll movie, more of a Borat movie.
Yes.
This doesn't feel like the same thing as What Is a Woman, where it really is getting to a really interesting conversation. There are interesting conversations throughout, but this is more of like a troll move on Matt Walsh's part. It's getting every single person has a significant stance on the racist argument and like the white supremacy and all that stuff, putting them in the room and just having the most uncomfortable and hilarious conversation. I'll say I was very surprised that our audience was very receptive to the film. I wasn't really sure how this was going to translate to theaters and how the audience was going to react. Everyone was getting into it.
Our audience?
Our audience. Yeah, our audience.
The audience we were in the room with.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what he's referring
sorry.
to.
Oh, okay.
Not our audience.
It's like
We may not have an audience after this review, okay?
That's
We
fair.
don't have an audience. We have an audience of 700 subscribers, and like 5 of them watch our videos.
727.
700 is like it's bet. Yeah, we're
You know.
yeah.
What about you, Mikey? From what you?
Yeah, I think that this movie was definitely trying to engage more with the recent character-based content that's been going around conservative media. Just YouTubers going out in character and just getting reactions to just ridiculous stuff. Whereas What Is a Woman was, it was definitely more documentary based.
Yeah. Honestly, though, the big thing that just shocked me was how the money people have to spend to be re-educated, basically.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
that's insane to me.
The price tag on the classes alone just exposes these people for being exactly what they are, which is grifters. Some of the price tags on there were hefty. I don't remember who it was, but someone in the film had a $30,000 price tag for their class, which is absurd on its face.
Yeah, but they advertise it as reparations.
Oh shit! What?
Did they?
Oh my god!
No, not in the film. Whenever they do
I
these
see. Okay.
classes,
Yeah,
whenever
I
they
was like, did I miss that in the film?
No, when they put on these classes, they advertise it to their audiences as sort of a form of reparations.
I got
wow.
So you're not just paying for the class; you're paying back.
Right.
For
Does the reparations go to your summer home? Wasn't that a big thing with like the person who started Black Lives
Black Lives
Matter, where
Matter,
she's bought a huge summer home, huge mansion,
and then was
that money?
prosecuted for it.
Yeah, and was prosecuted for it, rightfully so, some would say.
You know what's so silly about that is, at least from the way it appeared in the film, if someone like Matt Walsh can easily get a DEI certification, it doesn't seem like it really takes an educated person to start one of these classes, which is even more concerning that they're charging such a hefty price tag when you think about it, because it really is just people speaking out of their ass at the end of the day.
Dude, I was telling Liam in the theater, I was like, man, we're in the wrong business. Like, honestly, we should just be doing that shit. I mean, hey, man, like, I'll gladly be a talking piece for it if it means I get to make like $3,000 to $5,000 a class.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't difficult stuff to regurgitate. And it's all just the same nonsense over and over again. You don't even have to regurgitate it. You could just make up random words.
Oh yeah. I mean, like everything that Matt Walsh did at the very end, like the climax of the film, was essentially just BSing his way. Like, of course, some people walked out. Some people realized like this is bull, but a lot of them were like kind of nodding on with it too. He's like, yeah, I'll agree with that. And even something like when it gets to the like lesson 9, the most extreme. I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but also spoilers alert.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
I loved how when we got to like when the parts where Matt Walsh was speaking with more quote Southern hicks or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay. I love how their answers are so fucking simple, but they're beautiful. Okay, that shit's fucking great. I think I forget his name, but it was the larger set fellow,
big fat guy smoking his cigarettes, and Matt Walsh is like, "So what are you doing to whatever that blibber blabber was?" I don't know exactly what that was, but he's basically going on some like DEI narrative, and the guy's just like, huh?
And they knew they had a banger of that one because not only is that in the trailer, but they played that clip twice in the movie.
Oh yes.
That guy was a legend. And his shirt was fantastic too. What is it? Alcohol first, then relatives.
Yeah.
That was a great shirt.
It was great.
What shirt?
The guy who did, huh?
Oh yeah, well,
That's what his shirt said.
Okay, at first, I thought because speaking of shirts, the vegetarian shirt, but it was actually the vaginitarian.
Oh, yeah.
Vaginitarian.
Dude, oh my god, that's good. That's good. And then he's like, oh yeah, my dad and my grandpappy, they were the clan members.
Oh yeah.
I was like, damn.
He straight up just said it.
But he's
No
like,
fear.
but I ain't no racist.
I ain't no
I
racist.
ain't no racist.
Well, no. Honestly, what's so great, and just props to Matt Walsh for staying in character, even when he was around people that he probably shared a lot in common with.
Yeah.
It just made the entertainment of this film, the entertainment value of this film, way higher. There's a lot of people like that in the South who have very racist like uncles or very racist grandfathers, and then they just don't care. They're like like they've moved past that. They're moving on. They're living their life. They're treating others the way they'd expect to be treated. So it's astonishing to me that when you actually look at the whole film together, the people that are advocating for the anti-racist position come off as incredibly racist, and the people that you would typically associate with being the racist are the ones that are just cool with people. It's a reflection of reality, and that's exactly what that is.
It's an overcomplication of it. Like the entire racist argument has just been overcomplicated. Like you can be racist without even thinking that you're racist, and also there's so much more that goes into it. It's like, but like the Southern people seem to have the most healthy perspective of like we just gonna treat people like people.
Well, it's so simple because what they're doing is they're intellectualizing the concept of racism.
Oh, yeah.
This is why I love Southern people, is that Southern people don't intellectualize things.
Don't care.
They just go, that's right, that's wrong, and fuck you. And I was like, that's my whole worldview. I don't need a chart, or I don't need charts on anything. I just want, no, that wrong. And I don't want any explanation for why that's wrong. I just want everyone to fundamentally understand why that's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like I could have a beer with any of those people at the bar. And if I had to sit down with any of the people on the opposing side with just a long lecture, it was like, I mean, I don't want to just feel guilty about this the entire time. I want to hang out with somebody. It's like you're cool too, and hang out with somebody. Rather it's like, well, we have to get into this long discussion before we even like get to know each other. Like, all right, well, do we have to do this?
Now, on the topic of long discussions, let's kind of point out that first real DEI class that Matt Walsh went to in the film.
Oh, Lord.
Which I will say kind of dragged on for a bit of time.
Oh yes, before he was in disguise.
Before he was in disguise, I will say that scene did drag on for a little bit of time. However, there's a lot to appreciate about it as well. What was everyone's general thoughts on that first DEI class that kind of gets everything going?
I loved how uncomfortable everyone was as like, you know, it went on, and then when they found out that this is Matt Walsh, conservative guy, you know, oh my god, we're in danger, we should call the police. And I was like, wow, okay, that's pathetic.
I loved how he kept interrupting everyone and even put on the whole act of being emotional when everyone was trying to break down their whiteness, and how he puts on the tears and asks, which one was the crying room again?
Oh my god.
It was,
Yeah.
oh man. Again, I'm with you. Watching cringe on screen is hard. The fact that they even have a crying room is just so fundamentally insane to me.
Oh, or whenever he would like stand.
Would stand when he's talking.
Yes, and there was like, what the fuck? Or like, I think there was that one point where he just kept going on and on and on. He wouldn't stop. He kept using the same verbiage over and over again.
Oh yeah, it's like it felt like my heart was like put in a bag, and the bag was stabbed like 100 times, and then it was like something like that. But it was just like going on and on with this kind of graphic nonsense explanation of how the guilt surrounding his whiteness felt.
But yeah, it just goes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mikey.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, go.
Interject my privilege. I just wanted to.
Shut up, white man.
No, it's I did catch that scene. What always cracks me up is whenever they start to get uncomfortable with it, it always comes back to I don't feel safe. I don't feel like there's what was it that she said about danger in the room or something?
Yeah. But yes.
It was no. I mean, just it always goes back to they take words as like a physical threat against them, and then they'll just like talk themselves up until just these the most like pathetic people start acting the toughest until one soy boy white knight stands up.
Yes. Oh my god.
His hand shaking when he's trying to be like, I'll guide you out.
Legit, like that was the first thing I noticed when I saw his hand like in front of like Matt, like it was like, just shaking a bit. I was like, are you scared of Matthew Walsh?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I'm sorry, like Matt, like he does not look threatening.
Oh, as soon as Matt goes, I didn't consent to be touched, and that guy's hand went into his pocket so fast. It's like, oh, thank God I don't have to touch him.
That happens a lot in What Is a Woman too. As soon as you start playing like their logic against them, they almost like they have to play along. Like the consent, like I didn't consent to be touched. Like, well, I guess I have to play along with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That whole, and I did. I did enjoy the scene. I agree it did go on a little too long. And it was a little funny at the end where the whole point of the whole scene seemed to be Matt needed to find a disguise.
Yeah.
At the end of it, where he just forced a line of like, "So you need you say,
Oh
you
my
need a
God.
disguise." And
She's
then
like,
he went and
maybe.
found a new hairdo and everything.
So again, this is just another appreciation for the whole act of staying in character the entire time while he's talking to him. I love when he's interviewing this guy and he's like, "Oh, I missed the hoax part in your book title."
Yes.
And he's like playing around and he's like, "Don't like the statistics support my side," and all that, with like no knowledge of anything that he's actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I very much appreciated that.
Yeah, no, that itself was a good scene. Again, I do appreciate that he does remain in character throughout the entirety of the film, because honestly, it would kind of defeat the purpose of the movie or the documentary itself if he ever like broke character. At least like in the middle of the film.
I will say the one purely cinematic scene that happens in the film is when he recreates the Jussie Smollett case.
Oh my
I'm
God!
not gonna lie, I thought it was gonna be terrible. I thought it was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
It was.
great.
It was.
Have you
funny.
seen that scene?
I did not.
You did not, yeah. It's
at
because he didn't watch the movie.
Oh,
He
fuck
didn't watch
you.
the movie.
So, do you wanted to run through that?
Yeah,
describe the scene.
Describe the scene.
Oh my God. Okay, so Matthew Walsh
All right.
with that disgusting man bun. Okay, he's out in Chicago. It's late at night. Goes to a Subway. Okay, and basically these two masked men begin to trail behind him. Okay, does it sound familiar to you?
Yes. They had
should.
MAGA hats on.
It should, because they had those scarlet hats on, the familiar ones with those bold letters in white, MAGA. And they said, "This is MAGA country," something like that. And then they pounced. How could Matt possibly defend himself? But luckily, through his training with DEI, the DEI training, he was able to fend them off somehow. I don't know. Honestly, I'm pretty sure he just got his ass kicked.
No.
Then they put a noose on around his neck.
Yeah, there was that whole
Didn't even
scene.
take a sandwich.
Yeah, they didn't even take the
Unbelievable.
sandwich.
Yeah,
So-
kept the
so-
sandwich.
that whole
Kick somebody's ass, you take a sandwich.
Absolutely.
that whole scene, they had Matt walking around with the sandwich, and they had the clip of Jussie Smollett on TV interviewing, and they were basically recreating the scene as Jussie Smollett was explaining it, and they were like. So at first the guys had MAGA hats on. He's like, "I never said they were wearing MAGA hats." It cuts back and the MAGA hats are gone. True. And they're like, and then they said, "This is MAGA country." He's like, "This is MAGA country," and they're recreating the beat up.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember the smell of bleach, and they have a thing. It's like, pour bleach on him, pour bleach on him, and
Yeah.
then it just recreates the whole scene. Eventually, they put like the white noose around his neck, and they just show him on the ground. And then it cuts back, and Matt Walsh is like, maybe I shouldn't go get Subway."
Smart. But yeah, no, it was a very entertaining scene. Did you like it, Jacob? Did you fall in love with it?
Yeah. It was good.
This film, if you say one thing about this film, you pretty much got the whole concept of the
Yeah.
film down.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
basically conservative Bo Rat. He goes around trolling people.
Yeah.
There's scenes where he takes the DI classes. There's a scene with the dinner and with the what was it? The
Oh,
Basically, you pay to have a black lady and some other lady
who said that she used to be white.
who says she says she used to be white. Basically tell you that you're a bad person for being white and you're racist. Oh, also, only white women are allowed at this dinner party.
Yeah. And so they basically just sit there having dinner with you, telling you about how terrible of a person you are. And since it's women only, Matt Walsh is pretending to be a waiter, and he's going around and he's dropping plates and cracking them, and then he's getting involved with the conversation. He's like, "You're so right. You're so right." And that's what I'm always telling people. And at the very end, he comes out and he gives a toast. And he's like, "Hey, to racism."
dude. And then he
And
sits
then they
down.
raise their glasses.
And they raise their glass.
No, he asked them the question like, raise your glass if you're racist.
Raise your glass if you're racist.
And then even the black lady raised it. She's like,
yeah.
"Wait, no, I'm not racist."
Changes her mind. By the way, every one of these scenes, I'm gonna give credit to Matt Walsh, but also like this may just be how I'm processing it. Matt Walsh is a great troll, But oh my gosh, every single one of these scenes, he just goes a little bit further every single time. Every single time you think the troll is done, he keeps going a little bit further, which is great for trolling. But also, I'm just like looking down at my feet, like, gosh, just end it. This sucks so bad.
No, I will say again, as I said before, you get exactly what you expect. It's mostly a Bo Rat film. But
Rat? Did you go super country on that? Bo Rat?
Bo Rat, Bo Rat. Yeah, no, it's just scenes like that. That's like probably the most trolly scene of his, other than the ending. Is that didn't really have any substance other than for the sake of trolling.
I want to stay on that dinner one for a minute though, because I saw it.
That was the scene you saw.
It was one of them. No, it's always really funny to me whenever white people start lecturing each other. Because especially in this sort of context where they're all there to pay to listen and be lectured to.
Yeah.
But then the moment that they feel empowered to speak up, all of a sudden, man, they're on a soapbox. They're talking down to whoever their target is. And so Matt, comes up asking if he can sit down. No, you're not allowed to.
Oh yeah, the venom in that fucking remark. I was like, damn.
And I don't think it's helpful for white people to be pointing fingers at each other. It's it's really funny whenever you're sitting here paying to be lectured at by a black lady.
Yeah. Well, that's where it's easy to play their own logic against them. And by the end of it, it's painful. Any other situation, you ask this guy to leave. But in this situation, he walks up to him and asks them to raise their glass if you're racist, and then at that point they're on their own moral superiority train. It's like, oh yeah, I'm racist. I recognize my own racism, and they raise their glass without even thinking.
It's just so crazy.
I mean, even the people that are doing the lecture raise their own glass too.
Yeah.
It's just silly and pathetic.
Well, and he managed to worm his way into one of the seats. Yeah. That was freaking hilarious.
The subtlety.
Oh, it wasn't subtle. He just walks in and grabs a glass and sits down and just starts talking. Oh my god!
Oddly enough, he was a better actor in this entire film than he was in Lady Ballers.
Oh dear God!
Sure, if you want to call that acting, that's fine.
I mean, it was mostly trolling.
I think that's why it came off more genuine.
To be fair, he actually did have to act in some scenes,
sure.
So I'll give him credit for that. He was better in Lady Ballers, but
he basically
is a better actor, me and Matt Walsh.
Look, I feel like he's just playing a more somewhat more subdued version of what he played as in Lady Baller.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all it was. Just not as well, no, he was pretty outlandish in his role in
it's not as much of a characterization.
Yes,
I mean it is, but not as much.
Right.
Move on to Robin DiAngelo's scene.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So what? It was he had to pay her like $15,000.
$15,000, which
which was actually less than what they were offering. They were offering her $20,000 originally, and she settled at $15,000 out of her generosity.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
A very generous. $15,000. Which, if you consider the amount of money that she's already made, she doesn't need that much money anymore. I mean, you talked about the deals that she made for people. She's made deals with Netflix. She made deals with big production companies. So being a guilty white person apparently is very profitable. Which again, Michael, we're in the wrong business. We need to stop doing this stupid podcast.
I know.
Start educating people on their whiteness.
I honestly look. I think it's definitely easier to sell that than it is to sell a car. I'll say that. And Liam and I, we did all right selling cars at one point in time. I'm pretty sure we could sell the whole, you're racist, you need to be better.
It'd be very difficult.
Who's worse, in your opinion, a car salesman or a white grifter?
What's the difference?
Both of them are taking advantage of minorities.
What's the difference?
Fair, that's fair. I'll allow that.
Honestly.
I
what difference?
I don't know how far I can comment on this one.
So back to Robin DiAngelo.
Yeah.
So all right.
I mean, for the most part, Robin DiAngelo didn't say anything that much different than what everyone else has been saying throughout the film. But there's one significant part of this interview that stands out, and that's when Matt brings up, ask Robin, it's like, do you support reparations?
Oh dear God.
And she's like, I don't know much about it, but I do. And then he calls his black producer over, Ben, and asks him to sit down. And he pulls money out of his wallet and gives it to Ben. And Robin DiAngelo is shocked by this. She's like, oh, I'm just surprised because, we should be really taking a systemic approach. It's like, oh, that's fucking rich. That's rich.
Yeah.
Oh, we should be taking a systemic approach to this. It's like, so when it comes to your own money, you don't want to do it. But I like how Matt then follows up by saying, he's like, I'm not waiting for the government to do anything. I'm taking action now.
Yep.
God.
And then Robin DiAngelo is still like shocked by all this, and she looks over at Ben, and Matt looks at her, is like, "Well, are you gonna give him money?"
It's so uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. And then she's like, Ben, would you like money? And Ben's like, yeah, sure, that'd be cool. He's just so casual about it. And then she goes to her purse and pulls out $30. And when she pulls out the $30, they show the counter from the $15,000 they gave her, and they minus it down to $14,970. And she just hands it off to him, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was really weird and all that. That was definitely probably one of the highlights of the film, other than the very last
Yes.
moment of the film, which was probably the biggest laugh out loud moment for me.
Oh my God. Yeah, that actually almost killed me. That was really good. We should just get to it at this point.
At this point, yeah, because again, there's not much to say. I mean, it's exactly what you expect the film to be. So after that whole fiasco with Robin DiAngelo, that's when, and we got ahead of ourselves. He interviewed the guy that wrote that hoax book, whose name I can't remember.
Yeah.
But later on in the film, he hosts his own class, and he puts an ad on Craigslist. A bunch of white guys come to this class, and he starts out this class. And he
Got on
points
the
out,
news too for it.
He got on the news.
got on
Yeah,
the
that's a whole nother thing. He actually got on the news as
Not only got on the news, he actually practiced and exercised with the newscasters on live TV.
Yeah, he was like, here, I got an exercise, okay? I want you to stretch out of your whiteness. This is more for you and less for you.
Yep.
And these are actual news reports. Like, he got in on the news as his character
Several times.
several times. It was like local news stations and all
Yeah.
that, but still, the fact that he was able to actually get on the news as this
yeah.
character is so outstanding to me, because I feel like at this point a lot of people already know who Matt Walsh is. It's more satisfying when people don't know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, big
He's
time.
getting away with it. But anyway, yeah, we get to the end of the film. He's hosting this class, and he opens the class up with
Which, by the way, the name of his class is Do the Work Workshop.
Do the Work workshop.
Do the Work Workshop.
And that was on the news too. They were talking about that whole workshop that he
Yep.
was hosting. He asked everyone to put their number on a chart, on a line that declares how racist they are, and everyone.
Which, by the way, from like 1 through 10 or whatever, it shows an image, like on the scale. So 1 was, I think, just a black person, right? And then it was, I think, in the dead middle, it was what was dead middle? It wasn't I don't remember now.
Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dead center was Abraham Lincoln. So, like, if you're a 5 out of 10 on the racist scale, that's Abraham Lincoln. And then next on the scale was Donald Trump. And then the last one on the scale was
Klansman.
Yes, that was really good. And then that's when he asked, like, yes, everyone put your number on a scale where how racist you are.
And then everyone puts it onto like not racist. One person puts theirs in the middle and says that I'm like in the middle of that. And during the class, someone tells a story. I don't remember exactly how it went, but they were going
lady?
on. Yeah, and she said something.
Yeah, basically her story was I don't remember where she was, but basically Despacito was playing, and she had a rough day apparently, and she was like, "Turn that fucking shit off" or whatever. And the guy she said it to was Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
She felt so bad about it.
Well, there was also another subtle moment where someone in the class said something, and he took the number and he moved it further down the racist scale.
Yeah. Yes. No. Oh, what it was it was when he got his Ben, his producer, to get in front of the class, and he was like, "All right, I want everyone." So because there's such a thing as smiling. Too much or something like that, or having too wide of a smile. And so I want everyone to stare at Ben and just smile at him. And Ben wasn't looking at them at all. He was just like, just as if he was minding his own business. And and that's when, Matt was like, "You're not even looking at him." He's like, "Well, it's kind of uncomfortable to be staring at a guy who's not making eye contact with you." And that's what Matt's like.
And Matt just takes his number and moves it over.
Oh, it was that was good. That was the highlight of the that scene was the highlight of the fucking film.
It was just a small little moment. Well, that wasn't the highlight. The very ending was the highlight for me.
No, I'm talking about the entire class.
Oh, the entire class.
The entire class was the highlight.
Okay,
of the
yeah.
film.
After that, he brings in his Uncle Larry on a wheelchair. Uncle Frank. Why did I say Larry? Uncle Frank, excuse me, on a wheelchair. And he just starts like being really aggressive. He's like, "You made this racist joke when I was a kid, and I want you to know that is not okay." And his Uncle Frank is just like pretending to be this disabled guy. And then he's just being super aggressive. And then one classmate said, "I feel like everything I said would be wasted on him, but I do want to say this: fuck you."
Yep.
And then someone else said, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yep.
And then they roll him out.
And then Matt's like, "I'll see you next week, Uncle Frank."
I'll see you next week, Uncle Frank. And then the very next thing he brings up is step number 9.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, step number 9 says self-flagellation. And then he brings out a bunch of whips.
Yeah.
And that's when 2 of the people are like, "All right, this is ridiculous." And they walk out.
Most of them stayed though.
But most of them stayed, and one of the women grabbed the fucking whip.
Yeah.
That's a whole new level of crazy to me.
Like, he stopped it, but like, what if he didn't stop it?
Yeah, he stopped it. He's like, "This is too far. The class is dismissed," and all that. He was acting all emotional about it. The mere fact that the lady at the front grabbed the whip and was ready to do it just shows you how fucking ridiculous the people that buy into this ideology truly are.
Yeah. They walk among us. They vote.
They walk among us.
Yeah, that's one of the most sobering realities of this. It's like you're passing these people every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane to me.
Nuts. They just live like this.
And so after that whole scene, it shows a news report where he's acting all upset. And the woman's trying to she's super excited to learn about this DEI class. He's like, "Yeah, it's all a scam and that." But, he's just like slipping it in there because he's like acting personally upset. And he's like, I can't. And he just leaves in the middle of this. And then the whole scene, which had a little bit of cringe to it after that at the diner with the whole,
It was
dramatizations can be a little cringe in a documentary sometimes. But I like the message it has at the end. So ignoring that whole like imaginary stand-up scene where everyone's clapping.
That was just not.
That was unnecessary. It was a little cringe. I'm not gonna lie. The very end, even though it was still a dramatization, it was his uncle Frank. Be like, "Hey, you want to hear a joke?" And it's like implied that it's a racist joke. I like the message behind that because it just says, get over yourself, man.
Yeah.
Just enjoy life. If you want to tell a joke that's maybe a little spicy and not so PC, go ahead and do it. And you know what? We can just all get along.
I agree.
Welcome back from the edit. Michael.
Hi. Look, are we just not taking that lesson to heart now? What the fuck, guys?
No. I will say it's a genuinely good lesson because honestly, at the end of the day, the problem with these people that are attending these classes is they take themselves way too
Extremely
serious.
seriously.
Way too seriously. They actually need to lighten. They need to get over themselves.
It's like the purity culture of Christians, the Christians that believe that they are such on a higher morality because I believe in God, because God chose me or I chose God, and they'll start talking down, or they're like street preachers and it's like, you'll be damned to hell. Like that kind of purity culture is the exact same thing, but on the completely other side. Like, because I have admitted my white guilt and my white racism, therefore I am now a better human being than you. And like taking these classes, like going up to these people for like lectures and paying these people, like it seems to me like a lot of these people are doing it to not only to just feel better about themselves, but to like put themselves on a higher superiority. Like I've admitted my racism, therefore I'm here.
But overall, honestly, I did enjoy the film. Is it something that I will remember for the rest of my life? I don't know. Give it a year. I might forget about it.
Remember that whipping scene for the rest of my life.
Okay, maybe I'll remember that.
That'll
I'll
stick in
remember
my
that
head.
part. No, to be fair, I'll
Gracious.
remember that part.
There wasn't a moment where I wasn't. I even was looking at Michael next to me in the theater, and he's just breaking down. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that's the most joy he's got from any of the Daily Wire films thus
Legitimately,
far.
yes.
Which we will be breaking that down next week after Charles has the time to individually watch the Daily Wire catalog.
And I will.
I kept getting a look from Michael throughout the entire movie of like, I want to die. But it's not the same where it was like Lady Ballers where I definitely want to die for a bad reason. This was like, I want to die because it's cringe in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Good. It was a good.
Oh yeah.
It has always been an issue of conservative and religious movies that they generally just don't come out that good.
Lady Ballers.
And it's a commitment to an ideology that just makes it's the same reason that leftist movies are insufferable
Yes.
because it's not discovering an idea through the movie. It's building a movie around an idea and just kind of forcing all the
Yeah.
pieces into it. And so whenever you have a movie like What is a Woman or like Am I Racist, where you don't need to craft a narrative around it. You just have to go out and show reality for what it is.
Yeah.
And so whenever you see like a scripted movie that tries to portray this kind of stuff, it leaves like a weird taste because you don't need to do that. You could just go out into the real world and see it.
It's hypocritical on the part of Daily Wire, not really on the documentaries. I don't take anything away from What is a Woman or Am I Racist? Like, I'm not taking anything away from those movies. It's hypocritical on the part of the other ones where they specifically set out to make films that are enjoyable and not political, but instead they made politicized movies except on the completely opposite side of the spectrum.
Completely agree.
So, but we'll get
more into that next week. I will say the one thing that is true about What is a Woman and of Am I Racist was someone said it in a review that I watched. They said, yeah, the people making this movie may have been conservatives, but the liberals wrote the script of this film.
Yeah,
because they pretty much they were just saying their ideology outright, and it was exposed for what it is, and they weren't too happy about that. I know that after this film, a lot of the people that were in Am I Racist ended up deleting like their Twitter accounts, because they didn't really want to stay in the public eye after that. Because they knew that they probably said some things that were controversial.
Was it Robin DiAngelo? Did she delete her account?
Oh,
I
doubt
no,
she
she
would.
did. She was talking about how she was conned and how a man with an ill-fitting wig came in and she completely fell for it. Apparently,
That's something that's really interesting because nobody's faces are blurred out in that movie, but they had to have signed consent forms, right?
So the way they did it is that they advertised what they were doing as a documentary about the very issues that they were mocking in the film. And so they'd set these interviews as a film about those things, kind of praising it. And they just do what a lot of people do, where they put the small print in the contract, and then people sign the contract.
Interesting.
And then they're like, oh, I agreed to this, because people don't read contracts.
Sure.
Yeah.
So basically, they actually explicitly stated, we're a film that's talking about this ideology in a negative way in their acknowledgments. But the people just weren't reading the acknowledgments, and they just signed off because, that's what people do. They don't ever read those things.
Yeah.
So they have all the legal protection behind it. It was their film crew setting up all the events, but as a different documentary.
I know that no one reads those, but Robin DiAngelo is big It's impressive that just went over her head.
Yeah, you would think
Or
there would
she
be a
had, like-
legal team that
Yeah.
reviews this sort of
You
stuff.
would think so.
That's really interesting. Maybe they just because like any one of us, if like some news crew came up or documentary crew came up and handed you a contract and is like, we're going to be talking about some political topics, and you're like, I'm reading every word of this because I don't want to have any of this used against me like that. But these people, I think, are just so used to being in their own protected spaces that
yeah.
they just
Yeah.
don't even think about it.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to keep in mind, people like them, they already have this kind of like, they already kind of presume that most people just share their views because they view
Yes.
their ideology as so like sensible. Like, how could anyone disagree with it? That it makes sense that they would just assume that the person who was claiming to be on their side was actually on their side because they already think their ideology is just so
Right.
sensible.
Yeah, how
They
could they
can't-
be made to look bad?
They can't imagine someone actually holding a different ideology. They think those are scary monsters far away from them, not
Yeah.
people they actually know. That was actually a comment that I brought up at first. I said, it's very weird to make a documentary your first theatrical release. It just seems odd to me.
Probably for the
Yeah.
best with what we got.
I think that it probably would have been better to release like an actual. Now, they don't have a good history with their fictional films, so I want to be careful with saying this, but it probably would have been better just to release a film.
So the problem with that is literally their best film that they've made, which is Shut In, is just not a very. It's not like it wouldn't do well theatrically.
That is
Right?
fair.
That's not a theatrical release. It just isn't.
But is this?
I mean, yeah. I'd imagine more people would go to see Matt Walsh's, Am I Racist
is
than
fair.
This has
Shut
got
In.
more buzz towards
Yeah,
it.
when it comes to pure marketing, that of course it's going to do way better than anything else that they've done in their catalog.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Hyperion's is a god awful film where like from the get go, from the trailer, you could see, oh my god, this is shit. Lady Baller, same thing. This is shit.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert, yeah.
Oh, we'll get more into it
Oh,
next
oh,
week.
trust me. Fucking trust me. I know you probably think, these guys are conservatives. They only like it because they agree with the politics. Trust me, I fucking hate the Daily Wire's content, like when it comes to their fucking movies,
Yeah,
for the
they're-
most part.
they're-
It is awful.
Yes.
We'll get to it.
Almost every movie was a dreadful experience except for the documentaries and Shut In.
Yes.
But I think that concludes this episode.
Yeah, I suppose so. Guys, thanks for tuning in to, an episode of the Couch Gambit podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing us again after a bit of a hiatus. We're excited to be back.
Came back with a spicy one.
But
Gonna get
honestly,
canceled almost immediately.
but to answer the question though, am I racist? I'll let you decide.